Hi there, guys. Before this complication begins, I'm going to give a quick shout out to my friend Natalie. She made me this fan art, support our YouTube channel, support various, support like my friend Anna, who helped me play the voice of Sekai and several other videos. But this complication is meant to put every single video I've made on the school day heroines, just the school day heroines specifically, not include shiny days or cross days, but if not the man is required, I'll make videos on those. But yeah, I'm also going to be including the Sekai specific intro for Still I Love You because that has not been included in the original video as of this compilation. So expect that and expect everything else that'll come of this and enjoy. I do not expect to earn any revenue from this. All rights and characters and properties belong to Overflow and Stack and JAST that helps produce the dubs and also like basically putting School Days visual novel in the English market. But nevertheless, hope you guys enjoy this compilation video. Take care, guys. 見つめるだけで満たされた平凡あの頃には戻れないからYou know, school days really gets talked about a lot, doesn't it? But usually for all the wrong reasons. People remember the shock values, the endings, all the memes. But for me, school days has recently become very personal for me. Something I'll probably, like many of you, probably wouldn't forget. Because I played it for the first time, I didn't just see a visual novel full of drama. I saw characters that felt very real, emotional, conflicted, and of course, human. Amidst of all this of three main characters, and one character especially has stood out to me, and her name is Sekai Sayoji. The first time I played School Days HQ, I of course followed a guide. This is my first time playing visual novels, but anytime that I do play one, I want to make sure I'm, following the right path. I didn't want to make the wrong choices. I just wanted to see how things were supposed to end, at least the good way. But the second time, I decided to not use Isekai. I threw it away. I wanted to trust my instincts, so I ended up making my own decision. And without even realizing it, I found myself drawn back to Sekai's route. Not because it was easy, but because to me it felt like it was right. People online love to call her manipulative or dramatic, or the reason why she set Makoto in the wrong path. I wanted to remind people that the anime also always teaches you a lesson. It's also an amalgam of like all the bad choices every single character involved, including Makoto Ito, and especially Sekai. But of course, I've never saw her that way. I saw a girl who wanted to be loved, who wanted to be accepted, even when she didn't know how to express it. Yet she made mistakes. She definitely wasn't perfect, but that's what made her real to me. When I first watched the anime, I'll be honest, that final episode really did hit me hard. It wasn't shock or anger, it was just sadness for Sekai. She was just as much of a victim in all this as much as the other two were. Well, maybe not more, not so much Makoto, but definitely her and Konoha, in my opinion anyway. They both got caught, both her and Konoha both got caught in something that no one was mature enough to handle. And it made me realize that school days wasn't about cruelty. It was definitely about emotions, regret, and how fragile people can be. Every time I went back and replayed the routes, I understood a lot more. By the third time, I see it everything. Sekai's route, Konoha's route, and finally the route where both heroines got their closure. You know the one where you end up with both of them. I call it my own Operation Soul, inspired by the anime and another visual novel called Steins Gate. A mission to where I can give these characters, these girls, the peace without changing their world. Because even if I couldn't rewrite their stories or fate, I could still make sure that they found the happiness in mine. And in doing that, I realized something important. I wasn't just playing a visual novel, I was connecting with a story that made me feel, and with characters who reminded me what empathy truly means. Even now, from the time that I played it for the first time, or the time that I watched it for the first time, I still think about Sekai. Her character represents something that I really value. The idea that everyone deserves to be understood. That even the most flawed people have good hearts. And that love and all its messiness is something that's worth believing. And that, of course, also reflects the current relationships I have with my friends, the one that I have that's currently my girlfriend. But it made me realize the mistakes that Makoto made, that I would be damned to repeat the mistakes that he made to make, myself the worst version of me, and I wouldn't want that for anyone. And maybe that's why school days mean so much to me, because it showed that people can break and still deserve compassion. Sekai Sionji isn't another anime girl. To me, she is a reminder of that emotion, sincerity, and forgiveness matters more than perfection. So the next time if you ever play School Days, watch it again. Perhaps try to look beyond the memes and past and look at people behind it. Because for me, this wasn't just a game or an anime. It was more about learning to understand someone like Sekai Sionji. And maybe through her, understand a little bit more about myself. And I also want to give a shout out to Shiho Karagi, the save behind Sekai. If you guys didn't know, Shiho-san uses a VTuber model based on Sekai Seonji herself. So if you want to support a series in a different meta true way, definitely tune into her streams because they're very entertaining and she also is very sweet. On top of that, but yeah, there we have it. Take care, beyond our demons. Until the next, video. See you guys. So, this was something that I didn't expect to come in full circle. After the Sekai Seonji video, after everything that I've hinted at Operation Skull, I realized something important. There was someone who deserves her own message. There was someone whose story was twisted, mishandled, and of course misunderstood. There was someone's that people turned into a meme rather than a fragile human being. Yeah, I am of course talking about Kotonoha Katsura. Kotonoha wasn't simply the villain. She wasn't the crazy one. She wasn't that girl from the bad ending. She was a gentle girl thrown into a situation that quite frankly crushed her. And honestly, when you look past the chaos of school days, Kotonoha is one of the saddest characters in all of the visual novels. Not only because of what she did, but also because of what was done to her. Let's talk about the original world line, the one we all know. Kotonoha is kind, soft, introverted. She just wants to love someone sincerely. Keep in mind that, unlike Sekai, Kotonoha was someone that didn't like to be touched, but the moment that she opens her heart, the world strips out everything from her. And Makoto betrays her. Her classmate even attributes to her loneliness.
Now, Kotonoha didn't break because she was unstable. She broke because she was abandoned. And this is why I dubbed V my own Operation Skull. The operation that matters. So in this instance, what does Operation Skull mean for Kotonoha? Well, as the astute visual novel reader or anime surmise, Operation Skull for me isn't just a Steins Gate reference. It's a promise, a rewrite of fate, if you will. A world line where people like Kotonoha aren't punished for being soft-hearted. In this new world line, in my Chunibyo-ness, Kotonoha isn't left alone on that rooftop. She isn't betrayed, and she wouldn't be manipulated. In this world line, this is where the player, you, or rather I in this instance, will show up and tell her, you deserve better. You deserve to be cared for. You deserve someone who not only sees your heart, but not at your breaking point. Now let's clarify something. I wouldn't be someone that I obviously find, I have a preference towards Sekai Seonji. But I'd be someone that would want Kotonoha in my life for a platonic reason, just to be her friend at the very least. If I could speak to Kotonoha right now, Kotonoha, if I could sit beside you on that train, if I could talk to you on that lunch where no one else would, I would tell you this. You were never weak. You were never crazy. You were never the problem. You just live in a world line where no one protected you. If Operation Skull means anything, it means that rewriting that ending. In his timeline, I don't walk away, I don't leave to drown like anybody else's mistakes. In this world line, you aren't alone. So, essentially, what it comes down to, I feel sympathy for Kotonoha Katsura because as much as Sekai Seonji was done wrong, so was Kotonoha. And we cannot just be biased for one character just because one character happens to be my waifu. Quite frankly, under different circumstances, I would honestly share Kotonoha with Yuki, the main character from Cross Days. Look into that if you want to. And just so we also clarify as well, we're not talking about the family tree, the cursed family tree of School Days. If you want to really look into that, there's a nice book video by the YouTuber Redman. Look into it, and you'll have a good time on that. But with that, I leave you guys. Be gone, dirty demons, and take care. Disclaimer. The imagery you might see may not be suited for a younger audience. Viewers' discretion should be advised. Now that that's out of the way, we're getting to today's character highlight. One I've been wanting to highlight for some time, but it's time to get into it. School Days is remembered for its infamous ending. That's the thing about it. You mention the title to anyone who's probably seen it, they immediately go to the nice boat, to the knife, that Kotonoha, to, dare I say, the severed head in the box. The image that burns themselves into anime fans and history precisely because nobody expected them from something that looked, on the surface, like a standard high school romance. And quite frankly, that's fair. The images earned and the stories built to them honestly. The horrors of school days isn't just random, it's the logical conclusion of specific failures made by specific people across 13 episodes of accumulated damage. But here's what that ending does. It pulls all the attention to the explosion, almost none of it to the person standing in the background who saw the fire starting, who understood what was burning and why, who tried to quietly, deliberately, and at significant personal cost to prevent it. That character is named Setsuna Kiora, the best friend that Sekai Seonji was lucky to call upon. You've seen her in the opening credits. She has this maybe a quiet screen time of the main three. And she leaves for France before the finale. I think that's a good one. She is, I would argue, the most emotionally sophisticated character in the entire story. And almost nobody really talks about her. Or, well, I would argue probably people that are outside the fandom maybe, or maybe probably only seen the anime. Today, we're about to fix that. Okay, so let's start from the beginning. Like, who is Setsuna Kiora? From start to the beginning, she doesn't announce herself. That's the first thing you need to understand about her as a character. In the show full of people who wants to be loud, Makoto, who wants whoever is available, Sekai, who wants to be chosen, and Kotonoha, who wants things to go back to the way that they were. Setsuna is noticeable for how quiet she exists in the spaces around her, around everybody else. She's Sekai's best friend. Childhood friends at that. The kind of friendships that accumulate enough history that functions less like a relationship and more like a fact. They know each other the way that you would know somebody being close to since before you understood what closeness actually meant. Within the school structure, Setsuna occupies a particular role. She's the person's people go to, not because she's loud or powerful, but she's steady. There's something in her presence that make her situation feels manageable. She has the specific qualities of someone who has been paying attention to everything and storing it all carefully. And she's been paying attention. This is critical. From the very early stages of the story, Setsuna has Makoto all figured out in a way that other characters, even in Sekai, don't really see it. She sees his appeal. In fact, she was the one that fell in love with him first. She's not blind to it, but she also sees the thing that underneath the appeal, the passivity, the willingness to let situations carry him rather than making decisions for him, the way which he moves towards whatever feels good without calculating the cost to the person that's moving away from it. Setsuna sees it, she doesn't announce it, she watches. And that watching, knowing, not choosing to act on knowing is where Setsuna characters lives. So she develops feelings for Makoto. It's not a background detail, as I mentioned in the previous section. It's not ambiguous. The show makes it clear that Setsuna, while navigating her role as Sekai's best friend, the emotional anchor, is also managing something she didn't ask for and cannot act on. She likes him. She will not do anything about it, though. Now, I want to sit here for a moment, because this is where a laser piece of writing would make Setsuna a martyr figure, the noble sufferer who silently gets rewarded with tragedy, and the second place girl who is morally superior to everyone else and gets nothing, subjectively speaking, anyway. School Days doesn't quite do that, and I think that's where Setsuna. That's what makes her interesting. Her suppression of her own feelings is not presented as purely notable. It's complicated. That are where moments you can see it costing her, where her restraint is clearly an effort, where being Sekai's confidant about Makoto, the person Setsuna also has feelings for, requires a specific kind of internal management that shows you to witness even where no character directly acknowledges it. She makes a choice continuously, even in the scenes that she's supposed to make the same choice. So, this is where I'm going to go off script and kind of improv here for a bit. So, there'd be two kind of points, right? People would say, why did Setsuna kind of acted and knowing what you got caught and all that, and like, well, in spite of her being flawed, in spite of her, kissing Makoto in one of the episodes, she has never once abandoned her thought about Sekai's, wanting to be with him. She, by all counts, in my humble opinion, put Sekai over herself. In fact, Sekai has no idea. Like, if I was like, loving her, Sekai is my black girl, I would basically tell Sekai, like, she's so lucky to have her as a friend. Like, my God, Setsuna, even if Setsuna, was part of one, cheating, at the very least, I can firmly believe that Setsuna would have explained herself in the best way possible. Like, there's no doubt in my mind she would have. Okay. So here's a bit of a closing statement. Setsuna Kira is not defined by dramatic action. She didn't confess, she doesn't fight, she doesn't make the big gesture impulsive choices of the decision or anything that proves it. Her biggest lie precisely in what she chooses not to do. She chooses not to act on her feelings, who would hurt Sekai. She chooses not to expose Makoto, when exposing him would cause her damage she can't control. She chooses not to escalate the escalation that would otherwise satisfy her own frustration at the expense of someone's stability. She chooses not to continuously to place someone else's at the center of the story where she's living, even when that story contains things she wants to. In a show that being synonymous with the worst impulsion of human behavior, the cheating, the obsession, the violence, Setsuna Kira is a character who continuously chooses to become better. She doesn't get reward for it. In fact, that's not how school day works, unfortunately. Have she makes the choices anyway. And this is where I would say that Setsuna would have. I firmly believe in one of my previous videos that Setsuna would have honestly prevented the travesty that, at least as far as the anime's narrative is concerned, she would have been one of the catalysts to stop that nice boat ending. I mean, obviously, if we didn't get the nice boat ending, we wouldn't have gotten the phenomenon that is school days. But also, because the way that Setsuna is presented, I feel like I could be stretching it, of course, but I feel like Overflow knew if they had Setsuna being one of the players to stop Makoto from his whole debauchery and his, getting, destroyed by Sekai. If she stopped that, then we wouldn't have gotten what we got. I mean, we still probably would have gotten like a drama for sure. It would have been an interesting what if mid, Sekai trying to 86 Makoto or stab him, and then, in the middle of it, Setsuna gets caught in the middle, and, that's an interesting hypothetical I've been thinking about. So, yeah. So that's about it, guys. Hope you guys enjoy. This has been a long time making, so yeah. Like this video if you do, subscribe, support me on Patreon. Until the next school days video, take care, guys. Hello, fellow school days fans. You've seen my videos of covering Sekai, Kotonoha, Setsuna, few what-if scenarios of Makoto, even a sort of fun matchup of Makoto versus Keiji from Higurashi. Today, I'm about to talk about the childhood friend that Makoto Ito calls as one. And basically, with this clip showcasing one of Otome's best moments, which is that she basically flat out rejected the guy as far as the anime canon was concerned. So hope you guys enjoy this new sort of format that I will do. Salutations, fellow neck friends, fellow school day fans, most importantly, fellow Otome fans. So, this is a bit of a different format than I've ever attempted, at least as far as like a public video. I have done slideshow presentations before, and I've never done one on like an anime waifu or character before. But I figured because I am lazy to edit, I'm just lazy to just get to doing things like that. I want to do things a little bit differently for you guys. So today we have a slideshow of Otome Kato, the childhood friend of Makoto Ito, the one that rejected him in the anime canon. So we're gonna go over like sections. So bio, enroll in school days, why people like her. Oh, that's supposed to be a con. Sorry. Fixing that real time. Cons, why people don't like her. Waifu, what I call waifu points, why people might like her as a waifu. What I personally like about Otome. And how she stack up against the other girls. And that's how we're going to end things. So This first slide shows that not much of her bio, but like as we all know that she's like Makoto's like best. No, I wouldn't say best friend. Sorry, but like childhood friend. Loud, energetic. Like the quintessential like tomboy character, probably even more so than Sekai in a lot of cases. Loud, energetic, outspoken. Yeah, I already said that. Very social, interactive. Quite often like the instigator type. So why do people like Otome? Well, as it turns out, she's definitely fun and entertaining. Like, I actually kind of like her too. Like, compared to Sekai, obviously, you guys know I like Sekai more, but she's definitely not passive like some other characters. And she's not forgettable. Like people may not like her because of her kind of being part of like why she bullied like Kotonoha. Like that's very understandable. And plus she adds some energy to the scenes. So this section I call like waifu points. So people might like her because like oh, I forgot to change her. Well, we're just gonna improv this. So like the fact that much like Sekai, like she's like down to do stuff, like, and I used to kind of like not really vibe with Otome, but then when I really think about it, that's why in my previous videos it's like between her or Setsuna, like as my third favorite. It's like a tie between her or Setsuna, and I honestly think in a lot of cases, she might outshine Setsuna for me because I love tomboys. I fuck with tomboys. I'm the opposite of some dudes that be like into like the library girls or the quiet girls or like the girls around. I would dare say that I'm the opposite of all that, personally speaking. And it goes into the section of what I, Keepster, personally like about Otome. Tomboy, preferred type, yeah, we established that. Not afraid to say it as it is. Dude, like, she's just not afraid. She rejected Makoto in the anime, and she could have, this is just my belief, she could have, like, talked to Sekai and, like, the anime canon and be like, something's up, let's clear this misunderstanding, but, that's not how School Days kind of resolves their issues, unfortunately, as much as we want that. And how does she stack against the other girls? So for Kotonoha, Otome's obviously loud, outgoing, socially a social dominant. Kotonoha is quiet, reserved, socially awkward, depending on your perspective. Otome pushes the situation while Kotonoha avoids them. Otome thrives in groups while Kotonoha struggles them. Otome influences others while Kotone gets influence. How does she compare to Sekai? You know, socially driven and rather enjoys the drama, but then Sekai is a lot more emotionally driven and reacts to feelings a lot more strongly. Otomi instigates, gets to the battle of things, and this is where me and my friend Mion kind of agrees that if Otome had a proper talk and discussion with Sekai, I honestly feel like the two would have been great friends in the canon, not just the OVAs. She could have been one of the catalysts on stopping that, you know, the nice boat ending as we all know it. So then Otomi is confident while Sekai is insecure underneath, and Otomi steers chaos while Sekai gets consumed by it. And this is kind of true because, like it or not, Otomi was a part of that, you know, bullying with the other girls and her other friends, and quite frankly, I feel like if Otomi was aware of what was going on, she could have probably put a stop to it. You know, it's one of those like misunderstandings get cleared up, and that is the crux of like school days. A lot of misunderstandings tend to just happen throughout the series. So yeah, that's my Otomi review. Take care, beyond 30 minutes. Till the next one. See you guys later.
誠、そんなこと言うやつじゃなかったよね。中学の頃はもっと優しいやつだった。
いや、だって。
もういい。やっぱり帰る。バイバイ。バカ。
Hello, School Days fans, anyone that's been following my School Days content. We are finally at this moment that I promised you guys that I would do. This will round out my last coverage of the School Days heroines, waifu files, as I come to name to call it. So this segment is just the intro. I'm not gonna do putting any more like footage of this. I just decided that, well, I don't really have the time, and I'm kind of like needing to move on to other more important things. But this will be, as far as consistent School Days content, will be the last like School Days stuff that I will put on my channel. If I do put anything between, it's just like I find something that I want to discuss about it. I will not be covering like Shiny Days heroines or anything like that. That will take. I just don't have the energy to do that, to be honest. But I figure Hikari and Nanami will be the final like tie-in to that, among other things. So I hope to do them justice. I did a little bit of like, you know, searching, putting some facts, putting some very generic facts you might know what to like about them and whatnot. But I'm gonna be putting this segment. I will try to put like a little bit of snippet of the anime intro segment. I decided I'm gonna do that. Then you're gonna be seeing my presentation, and then by the end of all that, we should be just done with this whole thing. So I hope you guys enjoy this whole thing that I put together. And by the end of that, I will also be putting a compilation of every single waifu coverage I've done to the very like end of this. So enjoy, guys. Okay, we're in the final segment of the Waifu Files video that I promised you guys. Here we go, without further ado. Hikari and Nanami. Hikari, Kyoto, and Nanami, like, didn't take note of her last name because there's in space. But I'm just gonna go through overview. Like we go over who Hikari is, what reasons why you like her, Nanami, reasons why you like her, and then round up question, and then I'm just gonna improv this. So for Hikari. She owns like a family baker in the Overflow universe. Like, I remember in the Cross days, like, she used to go that buy bakery. Also tomboyish, just like Sekai and Otome. Close friends with Sekai, of course, alongside with Setsuna and Nanami. She has a distinct crush on Taisuke Salagada, one of the, very questionable dudes in the damn series. I would want to fucking kick the guy's ass for one day to either Kotonoha or Sekai for that. You guys generally know how I feel about that. Generally has a negative view on boys like Makoto. Reasons why you might like her. She's very cheerful. She's witty and sociable. She's a fuzzy tomboy and tsundere. Some dudes might be into that, or girls for that matter. She's the type of girl that gets physically intimate, and she just like Sekai. She knows what she wants. She grabs it, in spite of flaws. She knows what she wants, and the more I think about it, her spunkiness is kind of infectious. I could kind of probably get behind it. I didn't really like her at first, but you know what? I'm a type of guy that prefers like tomboys anyway, so you guys know. Sorry for like the squished up image, but it's the best I can come up with. Who's Nanami? Tallest girl in the basketball. Let me actually try to ball this. I don't know why it did not. Let me put a different color. It is too. Alright. Main girl of the basketball. Tallest in the main cast. Has a boyish look and short hair. Mature, quiet, generally stares out others' affairs. Generally. The only main heroine with an established boyfriend by the name of Kyusuke. And that particular character is not the best character. Not only that he cheated on her, but he allegedly imagine this piece of grape, apply that with another term or meaning entirely. Basically take advantage of other high school girls. It is just not good, dudes. Close friends with Sekai and friendly with Otome. Has a distrust or hate towards Kotono Katsura. I will have to give her a little bit of leeway, simply for the fact that, in spite of her being a bit aggressive towards Katsura, you gotta just admire the fact that Nanami, she does not mess around. She does not play around. She's in it for the long haul. A lot of these character traits are just, they have good traits and bad traits, and it's just a matter of how much you're willing to tolerate. And I honestly just always thought that Nanami has the more mature appeal of the bunch for the most part. Unless you count the mothers, unless you guys want me to cover the moms. Maybe that'll be a segue that I can probably do in a single video. That isn't a slideshow, who knows. We'll talk about that another day. Reasons why you might like. Oh shit, sorry. The reasons why you might like. You might like someone with short hair. You might like someone that isn't as direct as the others, but unlike the girls in the past. She is pretty protective of Sekai, so it's she is basically that, tough girl. It's you fuck with her, she might be able to fuck you up, maybe. In spite of flaws, has a very mature demeanor from a glance. So then the final question is to all of you guys that have been keeping up with my series is, out of every heroine that I cover, who is your favorite? Of just purely school days alone. We're not counting shiny days. We're not counting cross days. I'm not too much of an expert on cross days. That's not even localized on JAST USA anyway. But who's your favorite? obviously, you guys know my favorite. It's Sekai, then Kotonoha, then Setsuna, or Otome, depends. But Setsuna Otome type of 3, then maybe Hikari, then maybe Nanami. Like, it rounds out. But there you have it. I have finished covering each and every single main waifu in School Days. And don't you fucking dare suggest Kokoro. She is a fucking child. Are you fucking insane? No, we're not doing that. Anyways, take care. Begonder Demons. If you enjoy my School Days content, give me a subscribe. I also cover like Persona. I cover other stuff that is in School Days. And Yu-Gi-Oh! And all that good stuff. But yeah, hope you guys enjoy. And until the next time, nice boat. Begonder Demons. Support Shiho Karagi as Sekai VTuber, and have a pleasant rest of your guys' day.